All right, so we have the panel in place. You know who I am, so I'm not gonna go into that and repeat myself. I think we're good with Philip and Jarko as well. How do we feel? Do you want to know again what they do?
I think we're all right.
All right, sounds good then. Okay, so I have Alina right next to me. How about we hear from Lena briefly about yourself, so the audience knows who Lena Townsend is.
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Great. That was a good yes. I'm Lena, and it's a pleasure to be here today. I've been working in various positions within sales for the past 10 years, everything from physical products to SaaS company to AI within M&A, which is kind of where my competence comes in today. And recently I just started as director of sales as an American healthcare company. And I've also been working in various markets, recently in New York, where I just moved back to Sweden from. And I'm super excited about this topic today.
Nice. Let's hear from Linda.
Okay, hi, Linda Hellqvist. It's very exciting to be back here because I started working for Google 20 years ago, which sort of tells you my age. And we didn't sit here. It was a tiny, tiny office hotel down in Stureplan. And then we moved to a bigger office hotel just around the corner. And then we moved into this office. And then I moved with Google to South Africa, which was awesome and amazing. So awesome and amazing that I left Google to start working for another company that had offices in Cape Town as opposed to Johannesburg. So I started my career tech-wise, but had my, I think, passion in beauty. So I sort of shifted over to that. And then 5 years ago, I said, I'm not going to work operationally anymore. I'm just going to do investments and board assignments. And then this super exciting opportunity came along to step in as CEO for a beauty company called LH Cosmetics. So I did that for 5 years, and now I just stepped down from the CEO position. So I'm voluntarily unemployed, but just doing investments and board assignments. And you guys, we know you.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Wonderful. Nice. So I think this is going to be fun because we have a few different perspectives. We have a Google from Philip, Philip from Google, and then we have Jarko more on a technical end, and then Linda with a very nice background in retail because we have many e-commerce people in the crowd, and then there's Lena with that sales background. So I guess we're going to be able to tie everything in together and have that conversation, right? Okay, so I do have a little thing for the audience to start off with, because you remember when I told you that we received a list of questions from the audience. So we had a bit of a common and interesting question. So can you help me answer this by raising your hand? Do you think AI will steal your jobs? Oh, brave. All right, okay. We're getting somewhere. But that's nice. That's a very good thought then. All right, so one more question. Because I've been talking a lot about AI. Has everybody been using AI at work? Okay. Perfect. Right. So, this is interesting because the most common question was the stealing of jobs. But so with that, I think it's still there in people's hearts and minds. So I think we should answer that. So, Lena, could you tell us, what do you think?
Sure. Should I speak in the microphone or no?
I was just holding it.
Maybe you hear me anyways. So I don't think that AI specifically will steal our jobs, but somebody that is using AI might steal your job. Because after all, you can be so much more efficient if you're able to outsource, manual or repetitive tasks to AI. So I think using it in a very smart way make you stand up on the job market. That's my thought.
Yeah. And of course, feel free to
Do
grab
you
in
hear
from
us
the mic.
without the microphone? You do? Okay, that's maybe...
Yeah, maybe it's easy.
perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's easier.
Yes, I can take it. I can
Dropping
organize.
the mic.
Hello.
Yeah.
I was shown this article, Ylva showed me, that Volkswagen is now saving 40 billions with AI. So there will definitely be some cutting of jobs. And there's this meme going around, I don't know if you've seen it, with let's fun prank. Let's have people go to school for 16 years and then AI takes their jobs. So it's not really maybe if they will take our jobs. I think very much it will be shifting.
Fewer jobs.
Well, not necessarily fewer jobs. It's just going to be, today, I can't imagine being taken care of in the hospital. I just had knee surgery a week ago. And it's very nice to be taken care of by actual people. So I'm not sure, but I'm saying this today. I mean, 20 years ago, I also couldn't see my entire life being packaged in a smartphone. So
I had an interesting thought on that because you said that you like that a human takes care of you.
Yeah.
Which there is that warmth you get. But I, for example, had a thing I needed to get a person to put antibiotics into my veins, and every single nurse did it differently. Like they had different styles and different structures, and I would just like a machine that comes and boop. I feel like it would be, I would trust it more. But it's also nice to have someone who like gives you that mental, that you'll be fine. I don't know. That's just my take on it. But yeah.
maybe you need a therapist. You'll be fine.
No, but yeah, I can do that also.
No, I'm not saying that's not going to happen. I just think that human touch is still going to be an important thing.
Definitely.
And then it's more about how can we be more efficient in working? So rather than putting loads of time into admin stuff that you don't really need to do, or actually what you said, like lawyers already are obviously pushing deals and contracts through an AI to check for obvious errors. You can't trust it 100%
No,
today.
definitely not.
But I think that the biggest problem today is actually the person using AI, because we think it's going to be this magical fix, and then we put contaminated data or the wrong stuff in there.
You can make AI say anything you want.
You can make, and it's to be honest, ChatGPT. I have a friend who uses ChatGPT as I shouldn't say that here, Gemini, but the other the other AI as her therapist, but like literally. So she has long conversations and she pushes all of her text messages in with her partner and says, how do I respond to this? How do I read this? Like, he's a man, obviously. But what happens is, I mean, us as friends, we're actually semi-critical to what she's saying. We're like, okay, come on, seriously. This is, I mean, you're putting this into, and you're biased. So obviously the answers that you're getting back are going to be biased. So that's obviously a risk.
Yes.
She also needs a therapist, by the way.
There was a good South Park episode where it's all about, that just came out. It's all about like how AI tells you that all of your ideas are good. It's like, oh, fantastic idea, you should pursue it. And then you shouldn't believe it when it comes to these kind of things. Yeah.
But that's the answer that you always get.
That is true.
Great question, Linda. And you're like, I thought about it long and hard.
It's always an encouragement. That's true. Yeah.
I think
Nice.
maybe we diverted from the subject. Will they steal our jobs? Sorry, that was me. Will they steal our jobs? Yes and no. That's the easy answer.
My answer is maybe in the development side, I do see that most of the junior level positions are going to be much harder to get for people. My friend just started, I love him, but he just started to go to school for software engineering where he's going to be taught C++ by a teacher, and I feel so bad for him.
Have you told him that?
I have told him that, yes. And I told him that there is this thing called like Lovable and these things. And just use cursor. I showed him how to make a game. But a lot of people also need that structured environment of learning, even though it's just important that they teach the right things. And that is,
Which they obviously don't.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But the structured environment would be interesting. But yes, I do see that the low-level jobs very soon will be less valuable, even in our business. Any thoughts from your side?
I mean, I alluded to this in the presentation, I think. I mean, first of all, will it steal our jobs? That sounds like it's going to show up and rip the jobs out of our hands. I don't see that because that sounds like a short-term problem. And as I said, like I think in the short run, not much is going to change. But then in the medium to long, there will definitely be job displacement. I mean, that comes with any technology, and if it's the biggest, most impactful technology ever, then like the effects will be substantial. But I think, I mean, we're also pretty good at coming up with ways to fill our time. So I'm sort of an optimist. Like I think people will stay busy and get paid even in 50 years. I don't know if that's fun or depressing, depends. Maybe back to your point, do you want to work operationally or not? So we'll see. But I think it's a lot looking at like, okay, where are we talking about, what industries? But I think in the short run, like we've seen this a few times and goes back to the Mercedes, was it Mercedes? What was
Volkswagen.
the Volkswagen, sorry. But yeah, like will they reinvest that saving into future growth, or do they believe that they are on the decline and just take the savings and fire people? I think, I mean, it's clear that the opportunity right now is very, very big for growth for all companies to meet their customers in new ways using AI. So hopefully they will put that money to good use rather than to fire a bunch of people.
Yeah, all right. Good takes then. So, well,
The answer is maybe.
yeah, maybe. But still on that note, how do you believe AI is changing the relationship between customers, a bit more like the company and the customer? Because we also have like from multiple perspectives here, right? Let's say sales, and then there's a customer side of things. Linda, Philip, will
How will the relationship change
between how companies interact with customers?
Well, it's definitely more qualitative. I think it will shift from being reactive to proactive, because the more we know about our customers and the more data that we collect in our e-commerce platforms, the AI can help us predict when is churn rates, or when is this customer going to need to refill or restock? How likely is this product going to maybe appeal to this customer, etc. Things that we haven't really, I mean, we've been able to do them, but not at scale the way that we can today. So I think, from a customer perspective, it will only improve. That's how I see it.
Do we have any examples that we can add in terms of, because we went through a few, for example, the article, you took the audience through a few. Is there anything that you can practically implement?
What do you mean?
Like a use case?
Like what would change the customer experience?
Yes.
Well, one thing that comes to mind is like smart fridges and all this kind of stuff and buying, and like I'm sure in the next 20 years we'll have a system that says that you're out of milk. Should I order these things? And then you're like, I want my fridge to have these things, and then we track it. I would like that. and I am always running out of socks. I would like someone to send me socks when I run out of socks.
They disappear.
They disappear. I don't know.
washing
So
machine.
so I think it's her fault that.
Biggest mistake.
No, they just disappear somewhere. But yes.
But I mean, one case is obviously just email marketing.
Yeah.
With like, so it will be more personalized. It has to be, because the more data that we have, and it's data is from the second that someone comes into your site, and you know what they're looking at. I mean, we had way back, years back, we did screen recordings and trying to see what people were actually, and we had focus groups to see where they would like fixate on site, etc. You don't need that today, because you just see what people, the amount of data that you collect about your customers is just massive. So from the first touch, you know so much more about your customers than you did 5 years ago after having had a relationship with them for 5 years.
There's also the dystopic side to that all the companies know exactly what you want and when you want it.
My partner received an email from Zalando, which, by the way, I don't think he's ever shopped at Zalando, but he's obviously been there. And then he only gets recommendations for women's clothing. And he's like, how is this? This is just very, very, very odd. Like, how is this even possible? Like, why am I getting this kind of marketing? And then he unsubscribes, obviously, because there's nothing of interest for him there. Whereas, there are a lot of examples of women getting, pregnancy tests without even knowing that they're pregnant, like recommendations from myths on pregnancy tests. And they're like, I'm not pregnant. Why? That's so odd. Why would I need that? And then 3 days later, they're like, and this is not me. This is a friend.
The same friend?
No. Okay, good. I have many friends. And she was pregnant, by the way.
But I think in general, it really hires the standard for like what the consumer can expect, right? Because AI you can see it as like an intern that never sleeps, that always works, which means that obviously the clients can put higher requirements on what they're asking from the companies.
And I think that's been true for a very long time. I started here 12 years ago. I don't know what the story was 20 years ago, but back then we were, the one thing we said that like digital transformation has done two things. It shifted like the information asymmetry. Users now know everything, and switching provider is like it's at the click of a button, where it used to be very hard. Like you walked into a store, you did not know what was in the store next door, or even if there was a store next door. So like you had this one shot to figure out, should I buy this thing? Whereas like the internet came along, it got really simple to find information, got really simple to switch providers of whatever good you wanted to buy. I think we're living under that pressure. And yes, it will continue to mount. Expectations will rise. I definitely agree. But I also think, to your point, like we actually now have like a decent tool set to address it. Like we have like an understanding of data that we had a conversation very quickly in the break regarding my imminent car purchase. I'm not a car person, but what I've realized is that people who sell cars think that the people who buy cars are car persons. Because the only thing you can decide is like, what brand do you want? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if I knew that, why would I be here looking for a car? Like I would just go buy that car. But what I need help is to figure out like which car fits my needs. And then it's like, oh, okay, so like, do you want an electric car? I was like, yeah, I want an electric car, but I also live, like my country house is in northern Öland, which is like a long way. So I ideally don't want to stop. So it's not so much like the fuel type, but rather can I do it all in one charge? And that's, again, like it's not available looking at it from like a site perspective, but the data is there. So when I go in and ask Gemini, I was like, well, I need a 7-seater and like I want as much range as possible and make sure that it doesn't get stuck at the gravel path towards the end. It gave me 4 options like straight away. So like it's there, and just into like putting a simple chatbot on top of your own data will provide that experience for you. So I think it's like, yes, expectations are higher, but they're also maybe easier to meet in a sense.
And that is like now, it's available now. Like that's already like,
Absolutely.
yeah. You
That's,
just put your own data and then it's about the cars that you have in inventory. It suits these things.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
already there. And that's same for multiple industries. It's happening, same kind of searching changes.
Exactly.
Yeah. One more point. In e-commerce, when I was like 17, I was running my first e-commerce company, and the most it was around guitar strings, selling guitar strings to people who have guitars. And my most successful feature was a chooser, where you choose the guitar based on your profile as a person. So sort of that thing where you guide the customer is now moving and changing completely. So that's very interesting. Do you have some point?
I just think in general, people, we actually had this saying at Google. I don't think it was official, but people, users are lazy and stupid in general. But we are. We expect a site to load in nanoseconds. We expect all the information to be right there, right when we want it. Teenagers today, we have an 18-year-old, and she's like, oh, just check with chat. I mean, that's and Gemini, obviously. But they don't even Google anymore because they go straight to the source as they see it. Like, here I'll get answers that from someone who actually understands my needs, because all the history is there. They know exactly what they want, what preferences they have. So if we were lazy 20 years ago, then that's nothing against what they are today. And honestly, probably even more stupid, because they don't really think themselves. And they don't really question the information that they're getting. They're basically just buying into it.
Yeah, and questioning it.
Very optimistic view on today's teenagers, right?
It was all better back in the day.
I've reached that age now where I'm
me
like,
also.
oh, it was better. Yeah, no, depressing.
Well, sure, but maybe I raised the point, thought there, because search is changing all this, and Google knows everything. So when are we gonna get ads on Gemini?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Sorry for putting you on the spot. You don't need to say anything. We can.
Well, no, it's a very good question. I obviously don't have as good an answer, but I mean, I think I mean, we talked a little bit about this in the break as well. Like, okay, how do we think about it? Like, and I think, I mean, search has always, again, been about meeting expectations and doing that, but by providing something like meaningful content, being relevant. And I think, I mean, yes, some journeys will stay around in the GPTs or the Geminis of the world. Some will sort of branch out, but they will probably do that at a much later stage. So going back to my car purchase, I don't think it's imminent me buying a car in Gemini soon. I will probably still head over to some sort of site and then eventually a dealership as well and test drive it. So I think at that point, like, the traffic that arrives is a lot more relevant than it was, because someone is now ready to make a purchase in a sense. So
Not tomorrow.
not tomorrow. It's kind of the same story. Like, you have to still be relevant, and the ads needs to be relevant as well. Like, that's what we learned from 25 years of running search. If the ads are terrible, then no one will click them. So I'm assuming that, like, once they do arrive in these services, the system will be similar to what we have today.
As long as it creates value for the people, then
Yes,
then
I mean,
people
I think
don't
from
mind
an advertiser perspective, which I'm assuming most of you, like, that's the perspective you come with today. It's not going to be a fundamental difference. I mean, I assume you're buying traffic from more than one source today. So, like, yes, there will be more sources, but I think the thinking behind them is that, I mean, it's not going to be like who pays the most. It's always going to be who's relevant and willing to pay. So stay relevant.
Okay. All right. So we talked about how the relationship between companies and customers are changing. So with that, I think one interesting topic would be is creativity. So with AI coming in doing some of the tasks, what role do you think human creativity plays with AI?
I mean, AI still can't read a room, really, right? There's always nuances, or always, at least as of now, in today's landscape, there is nuances that the AI maybe can't pick up the same way we as humans can do. That's my take on it.
One of the things that we at LH that we've spent most money on beyond marketing, but is content creation. So, you know, it went from like content is king, etc. Now you literally put in a prompt where it's like, make this lipstick pop and turn into a flower or whatever. I'm not the creative
Great
brain, so,
campaign.
yeah.
Wait, so is it actually creating the full campaign, or
It's
are you
creating
discussing the idea?
everything? It's you can actually put in a prompt and then you just get a video. It's amazing what you can do and the amount of money that you save in content creation. I'm not sure it's going to replace creativity because you still need to prompt it with something. But then again, you can go into Gemini or chat and just say, okay, give me examples or suggestions for really creative campaigns. We've never to this day taken an idea straight from and just done it, but basically getting ideas and something to work with and then enhancing that. And then creating the content with AI. So cost saving, massive cost saving.
Maybe there's one thing that people are getting a little bit desensitized to this like AI stuff. Like I remember back in like a year and a half ago, ChatGPT, there was one of our Finnish employees' birthday. So I wrote a poem using ChatGPT to this lady. And she was like taken. She was like, "Oh my God, this is so nice. Yeah, thank you for writing it for me." And like back then, it was like everyone thinks it's like new and like they didn't know that it's AI. But now, if I do the same thing, she would be like, it's just AI. So I'm like with those like artistic and creativity. I think we as humans will get very good at detecting what is human, unless AI will start faking. I think it will. But anyway,
Hasn't it already?
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. But like I think there is that part.
Prompt it, like write a poem as if you're not an AI.
Yeah, exactly.
Or bot helping out.
Yeah, I was just looking at our picture. I wonder if it has 4 fingers or 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely missing one.
Yeah.
No. It's the pinky that's underneath to hold the phone. Guys, come on.
No, but I think also there's this. Have you listened to music created by AI? Some of it is horrible and basic, but when you have an artist use AI to create music, I have an artist which I love, which that makes these horrible songs sang by this little girl's voice, but they're like super funny, and it's just I think still creative, but it's just you're just using it as a tool. Yeah.
Interesting. Going back to the writing these poem thing, I wrote a speech to my best friend for her birthday.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to enhance it, make it better. So I put it into AI, Gemini, to just make it a little better. And the output was horrible because obviously there are nuances between me and her that the program really doesn't understand. So I think there's, again, always going to be some nuances that you need to, as a human, bring into the table. Philip, your thoughts?
Maybe I'll sit this one out.
Okay.
No, I mean, I talked briefly about it as well. I think like creativity, I mean, kind of to your point, like it's always been like, oh, there's these creative people, but that's because they spend so much time doing something. If I only had like the tools to create amazing video, I would be a video director. Well, now everyone has, and I mean, I'm not seeing a splurge of great content all of a sudden. So I definitely still think that like there are creative people who are good at creating things, and then there's the rest of us. Those like the creative people will continue to find employment, I'm sure.
Yeah, maybe there's a splurge of content, but maybe not a splurge of great content.
No, exactly. Like it's, I mean, to your point, like I was slowly remembering also when everyone was like celebrating an achievement by saying, "Oh, here's a poem that Gemini wrote for you." It was fun like the first time, and then the 200 subsequent not as great. And not to like, yeah. So I don't like. I think it will be a great tool for creativity. I don't think it will be a displacement.
I mean, I'm not in the panel, so I'm not sure if I can even answer, but then what Linda mentioned, it's actually a fair point because I'm not a coder at all. Like, Jarkko codes, but I'm very nitpicky. I sit next to him like, make this button this way, turn it this color. You know, I give my 2 cents. So sometimes he doesn't like to go into the details, but now I'm in a position where I can vibe code. So I tell Curse exactly what I need. And I think I have to be able to, like, I need to know what I want for it to create the output. And if I don't know, because that's still creativity, right? And if I don't have that, it's not going to happen. So,
But here we are again with data. The more data you have to push into the tool, the better the content is going to be coming out of it. And if you connect that with all of your previous campaigns, and the data or the AI can actually read what's been working, what hasn't been working, then you're not going to step into these like black holes of, oof, okay, that was a bad campaign. It actually didn't give us anything. But you can, I don't know, look into the future. It sounds so cliche, but you know, you at least have so much data to go on that you don't necessarily come up with bad stuff based on what has actually worked.
makes sense. Nice. Okay. So one of the next questions I received from the audience was, what do you think that companies can scale with AI while keeping a human touch?
Everything.
You could be name a few, some examples.
Well, customer service, I think you had one example of like just that first question and redirecting it to the right person to deal with it.
Or the right model.
Efficiency, you know, just not wasting time. And time is money, so not wasting any of it.
Is there something from like a sales perspective you would add, Lena?
I mean, anything from like automating reports and analyzing them. I thought about one thing the other day where, you know, obviously I check in with my team, but I don't need to listen to every single call because they can have AI tools guiding them through like, oh, you asked too few questions this time, or maybe slow down your talk ratio. I've had that one a couple of times, trying to speak slow. So there's like coaching methods you can use instead of having a manager sit in and listen at all time to free up time. And again, time is money, to spend that on other things.
Yeah, that's nice. There was a guy I met in London who has a company that does exactly that, like sales coaching. He listens to the thing and there's exactly those like, do this differently, do this differently. I don't know how well it works, but we've seen that as well. That is good on the sales side.
We've had a really amazing tool called C-Brain that we implemented at LH Cosmetics, and it's literally an AI coach that all of the entire staff gets access to, and literally, you know, in their hand have a coach that can guide them anything from like asking a question, how do I deal with this? How do I prepare for a conversation to I want to increase my salary, whatever it may be. Still, everyone at the company is like, well, I'd love to have a personal coach. Like it's anything that's a shift is difficult. And if you don't really understand it and it's a change in behavior, you're talking to someone, but you know it's not actually a person, then it doesn't really, you don't take it as seriously. And this is obviously better than probably any therapist or coach because they're trained to, you know, and they get to know you and they know what will work and what might not. And still people want that human touch.
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
Me, scaling. What was the question? we always deviate, but I think that's good.
Yeah.
What was the
I think we've been debating quite a bit.
Yeah.
But it's a natural, right? So, how do you think companies can scale with AI while keeping a human touch?
Yeah. The human touch. You really need to train your models to like what we have done now on like what Linus did for our front page chatbot is nice. That we actually took a lot of very personal stuff, like fun stuff, and we put it in the training. Not to be cold, but now if you ask it like who is Jarkko Oksanen, it has some funny stuff, and it coming through the AI, but it comes through our training of the AI, so you can make it like feel like it's our, personality. And I think that's kind of nice. And I think you can do that with your customer communication and your marketing. You can scale that like. You can scale your team. It's still your team. It's just augmented. Yeah. But yeah, of course, like when you go deeper and deeper and deeper, then the human disappears. I think. But I think in those kind of simple touch points, you can keep the company's brand and the touch and the human element in there.
To be honest, like customer service, why would you necessarily have a person there?
No, like
Because you can.
let's say you want to cancel your flight. You just want to cancel your flight. You
Yeah.
don't want to like get a human touch. Like, Yeah.
But I mean, if I can build on your example and maybe go deeper on like how to actually add the human touch. So, I mean, we talk about prompts, and when we talk about personalization, I mean, training the model sounds very complicated. Like, how do we train a model? Like, do we need thousands of examples and retrain a layer around the entire LLM? But it's actually quite simple. So there's a technique called few shot learning, which is basically like when you ask a model like, hey, can you figure this out? That's 0 shot because you don't give it any examples. But then with few shot, you say, hey, here's a couple of questions that usually come into customer service, and here's how we usually respond to them. And then you send maybe 5 examples along, and all of a sudden the model picks up on like, oh, okay, I see. Like there's a tonality, and there's some standard phrases being used. So again, like the content we create is also like the tool that enables you to be more personal using AI. So I would advise you to experiment with that, like provide it with some examples and say, okay, we want something more personalized and see what comes out of it, because it makes a very big difference. There's actually quite like a year ago, everyone was talking about fine-tuning models. Today, almost no one is, because the progress of the generalist model is so quick. So if you can just make that model work for you, then that's where the benefit is, rather than building a library of use cases and retraining a model.
Yeah, that's also like one way of doing that is looking at all your customer questions that come in, and then like sending that in the system, and then training a few answers based on those questions. Yeah.
And then most people will probably not know whether they got an email response or a chat response from an AI or an actual person if you've shared it well.
But do you think that's bad in a sense? Like
No, that's what I'm saying. Like customer service, it doesn't, that there's no, what is the need for an actual person to sit there? I would say at this point, none. Because AI can do it as good and maybe even better, because they, them, whatever pronoun they are, but they don't have mood swings, or they don't think
They don't have a bad day.
They don't have a bad day.
Yeah.
Back to the first thing that we discussed about the nurse. Why do you want the nurse?
Because I want her to hold my hand. while
Yeah,
she's
but that's the point. Like, yeah, exactly. But that's the difference. Like in customer service, you just want the end result fast.
Yeah.
But when you're worried about your health, but what if the nurse is there, but the robot is doing the thing?
fine.
Yeah. Then we have a conclusion.
Glad we solved that one.
Sure, I want a robot taking care of my kids, though. Even
Yeah.
though I understand that it's probably, that robot, again, is not going to have mood swings or a
Yeah.
bad day, having fought with their husband or whatever.
You never know.
But you never, well, yeah,
I mean,
that's
I
true.
think-
Maybe in 20 years.
I think also the robot, like not only for this purpose, but like as customer service, whatever, is also sharp 24 hours a day, right? It's not like you talk to somebody right before their coffee break and they're like slightly tired and misspell something or whatever. Again, the standard is higher because you can keep a higher standard.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Okay. right. I think this one could be to start with Philip. What AI trends do you think will have the biggest impact on customer experience in the next 24 months? Because I think it's a bit too far-fetched to talk about 3 to 5 years. But of course, feel free.
Well, I mean, we can go back. I think if we count the days, it's like 700 days since GPT-3 was released. So everything that's happened that we now call like this AI revolution has happened in less than 2 years. Looking 2 years ahead, I mean, the pace of change is increasing every day. We know that for sure. So it's going to have a bigger impact over the next 2 years. And I think, I mean, I talked a little about sort of the fundamentals. So, I mean, looking at the process and looking at, okay, where's natural language understanding involved? Where's analysis involved? Where's ideation involved? Where's content creation? Like all of those things will be fully automated in 2 years. I don't see like this semi-automated having to build that much is still the case. But beyond that, like I wouldn't like there's it's above my pay grade basically to have a better answer than that. So I won't bore you with my vision of it.
Yeah, sort of the same answer that what I came to in the chat also. Like I've listened to all these like high level people in their podcasts, and then they're like, yeah, we don't know. so yeah. On the customer experience side, I would just focus on the stuff you can do now, which is out there. Do the stuff you can do for the next 6 months to 12 months, and it's going to be different again in 12 months.
And maybe if I can just add quickly, like if you remember that sort of staircase model, ABCD, like you get started somewhere, you look at the efficiency gains, and then you figure out how to reinvest that in sort of your next thing, and then you start building this like long-term strategic advantage. Like that still holds, right? It's not going to be possible to wait for 2 years and then jump straight into the D or the part 4 of it. It really is about getting started and figuring out how to build with AI today.
Yeah, it also takes a long time to get your team involved. Like we are a tech company, we have about 60, 70 people now, and even us as like a fast, small startup, it takes a while to get everyone, like we need to communicate so much. Like sometimes you don't communicate enough, but it just takes so long to get everyone like understanding those things. So it's nice to start with steps instead of having in 2 years, like now we are AI.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, how's the audience feeling? Any burning questions? Anything that the panel can answer for you to make your day a bit better at work?
Or if you have any comments on any of the topics, anything like that you'd like to point out.
Why is Gemini not part of the panel?
That's a good question. Someone mentioned this to me. Samali, yes.
There was a question here. Or thought.
No actual question. Directly to the topic of happy e-com customer. And if I take out the e-com, I'm interested most about happy customers. And specifically because I work for a real estate company, we own most of the train stations in Sweden. So our platform is 500,000 people going through our stations. And there's just this growing gap between this platform and my platform, because I have no happy customer solutions for those 500,000 people coming through stations. It's like we are talking about everything. It's like I get the scalability.
Yeah.
We are competing at the arena that it's actually quite simple. It's non-physical. You can scale really quickly, but then also you will have like a lot more competition because especially like when content will be easier to produce, there'll be a lot more content. But yeah, even tomorrow I will have pretty much my 500,000 customers, and our main problem is just like we have compared to phone, we have no clue. We have no clue what who the customer is. How can we help them? How can we make them happy? So like, just what will be your thoughts on that? Because yeah, you're not really coming to us. You're of course delivering solutions in the simple digital world.
Simple digital world. I have lots of follow-up questions, but I think you had a point as well. So
No. So many thoughts and questions back. But customer, no matter where the customer, if it's a physical or a digital platform, a customer will be happy when their needs are being met. And basically, if needs are being met with, like, if I want a banana, then I want there to be a banana stand. If I want a newspaper, I want there to be a newspaper stand. And I think what using AI for that is predictive in terms of what do people usually, I'm not giving you a prompt here, but like what do people usually want or need when they're at a train station?
Yep. But one thought came to me, like put a video there, analyze all the traffic, what they do, and then tell AI to tell you what to put where, how it should be. Well, your customer is someone who walks through the train station, or do they buy tickets? What's the use case?
I would just like pose the question back, because real estate is not a sector that would have a lack of money.
Yeah.
Have you seen yourself, like in your everyday life, just going out in the physical world and being helped, enhanced in like we are getting helped a lot in the digital world, and then there's this gap that we have a really hard time delivering, like smarter digital solution, but in the physical world.
So one thought we did earlier, we did a test where you walk past a real estate, like a real estate brokerage window, and then there's an AI that you can talk to, and you can ask like what are the properties nearby. That's kind of cool stuff that you can do, but there's of course millions of ideas that. Yeah, but it depends on your customer what they want.
But I just wanted to add, it also sounds like your industry might be the safest from AI disruption because people will still need transport. Even like in 2 years, that's definitely not going to change.
Yeah.
So we are actually worse off than you are because we are working with these digital services that can be automated. So I mean, it's not all bad. It's not all doom and gloom. Is what I'm trying to say.
We have a thought from the audience.
Yes.
No, it's good. Yeah, I have a question actually, just because you're here.
One sec. Can everybody hear? Because I know we're not passing out the mics.
I'm doing it
Oh, perfect. Thank you, Alex.
No, I thought I had a solution for your question, but I realized that you're working with real estate and not for company behind the train schedule. But I was wondering
Maybe we
The
could
most
solve that
loved
problem.
coming to or something like that. But the question that I have, because I have the mic now, is because I love images, and I totally buy into the idea that we want to search with images, but I don't believe that AI has gotten there yet. So, and from there to one of the products that you guys work with is Google Photos. Why is the search so awful still? Why can't I put in a search query that will match my asking what the results yet? When is that happening? When are you bringing Gemini into all your other great products?
When you start paying for them. So let me break it down into a few different things. Image search is, I think we're doing like 200 billion image searches. So even though you might not use it, it's very, very big. Again, like
User. I use it. It's just that I wanted it to be even.
okay, you want it to be better. Yes. Okay. So I mean the results always improving. I think when you use image search, I think it's pretty good. I use it sometimes. I stop a TV show and when someone has a nice shirt on, and I take a picture and I like zoom in and I search for it, and I usually find it, even though it's usually niche items. On the other side of things, like why is search in photos bad? I mean, it's pretty easy to do embeddings on photos, but it's also costly. So I mean, if we want to do a lot of embeddings on your photo, which is basically what we use to retrieve something beyond like the actual metadata that you put in, so like understanding like what's in the picture, then it's pretty much a cost question. Like image search can be really good, but then it requires a lot of like taking a lot of time to say, okay, what's in this picture, and help me find like different dimensions of it. Have you tried searching in English? I think that usually works a lot better. But yeah, tomato. I like it, but sad to hear that you don't.
Well, I I am complaining because I see what's being done in the AI sector, and I see that, if I search for food or something that lots of people go, with a location based on where I took the picture, should be able to find it.
Yes, I agree. It should
I
be.
guess for the retailers to just opt in with more pictures.
I would plug though the map search feature. It's usually how I find photos that I've taken. So you go in, you press search, and then it shows up like, okay, locations, because I never remember like anything except for like, yeah, we were out on that boating thing, and then all of a sudden you have a little heat map in the middle of a lake, and you're like, oh, I don't know which day it was, like obviously not, but I know where it was. So then the maps feature works well. So.
I agree.
Any more questions?
Hi, thanks for hosting us. Quick question for you. I've been doing kind of similar thing in the past. Now I moved to AI search, and that's one thing maybe you can explain a bit more. It's about which verticals basically are leveraging your tools. Because my tech, this is why I shift, is that this is Gemini or GPT that's going to own the customer. Like all the product discovery search is going to be made there. But I guess for some verticals, as you've shown on your slide, it's still the website is still very important. So maybe, yeah, if you can share based on your experience, what are the key verticals where it makes sense? Thanks.
Yes, sure. Very, very quick answer to that because it's specific. So we work very much with automotive, with real estate, with e-commerce. Those are the main verticals, and we see that the search there is super important. So it's a catalog kind of businesses. It's like our core. That's pretty much answered your question. Those are the main verticals, and also it works on the other channels. So it's not just a website. You can also search on like WhatsApp and SMS, and the same queries that go to the AI can also go to other places. But that's the.
But are you able to leverage kind of a loyalty program? Because, like,
Yeah. So if you're logged in to the platform, it will know who you are, and then you could do different, And this is also comes down to using the right data platform or using the right system, so we can actually get the data. Because otherwise, if you use Shopify, we can get it, but if you use something weird, it's hard.
Weird as in.
Weird as in the WooCommerce is good, but let's say Magento. There's like 17 different versions of Magento with different APIs. So, sorry, Magento. Yeah. Hopefully, I answered your question, and you can ask me more technical things later.
no, but I'm aligned. I understand that it's just that's obviously for customization. We saw a lot of traffic, like you're wearing cosmetics, like traffic in AI is huge. It's 10 times what is from Google, actually, that you have on the Sephora, for instance.
Yeah.
So I guess this is for some verticals, people will still go there. We have a lot of people in real estate, automotive, and networking stands there and loyalty involved. But I see this shift where end customer is owned by Gemini in the future.
Yeah, that's one thing that we have seen in a couple of other markets. Like Google is releasing like automotive search into the market, into Google. They're testing it in a couple of markets, which is interesting to see. Like, will it replace Blocket? Like, will it replace in Finland Nettiauto and these big Schibsted companies? Don't want to put you on the spot on this one, but those are very interesting.
Sorry, just to follow up on that question, I find it really interesting. Maybe can you explain how you change the customer navigation on a website? Because obviously, like you are turning into kind of a chat on the website. That's a huge changes I've made on the website architecture for customers. So maybe if you can.
Yeah. So my vision is that you can talk to the website, you can type to the website, and it will follow you, and it can redirect you to the places, so you don't need to just click. But in some places, it's just easier to click. If you want to know the pricing, just click on pricing. But if you have a catalog business with massive things, then it might be easier to just type it instead of using the search. So just implementing like a new way of using a website is what we want to do.
To A/B test both version of a website.
Yes, those are fun.
But these are very transactional, or this is very transactional traffic that we're talking about, because a lot of people coming into any website is sometimes there for inspiration or just, to scroll, window shopping, or, and then if you just have a search box, then, what are they going to like, oh, I'm just here window shopping might then be a prompt. But a lot of people are actually coming in, and especially in some industries more than others, of course. But I think even in automotive, cosmetics, definitely, clothing, many retail companies, they're there to be inspired and to be, we want to learn something or get inspired.
No, but then you could have like get inspired, and then you can.
Yeah, we've tried that.
Yeah.
People don't tend to, do what we.
That is
If
true.
you say, like, click here if you want to be inspired, and you're like, "Ugh, I'm not here to be inspired," but that's exactly what you're there for, because you're not there to buy something. You are just there to window shop.
Nice. Okay.
Another rather Google question, or taking context with you, will be my headline. The question is some chatbots have great memory, some have none. The thing is, there's already happening that you are locking yourself into a platform because you are creating a memory somewhere. Really nice to take it someplace else. All the stuff. If your chatbot is your therapist, and you would like to change it.
Not
change
mine,
it.
dude.
Yeah.
I'm talking. It's my
Yeah,
friend.
but how does you from inside of Google, what maybe papers or like where do you see this is going? Because this is a big pain point in terms of I will be just like leaving all of my contacts like everywhere, but I would maybe take it with me.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think right now it's early days. Looking at it from a historical standpoint, Google's approach has been openness. Like if you go into Photos, there's a one click and you can download all your photos. I mean, you could argue the same thing for like all of your emails. That's a huge moat as well. Like if you want to switch emails, and especially if like it helps you write with AI and so on, you want all of your old emails and so on. So we have this open takeout program across almost all Google surfaces. I wouldn't be surprised if that came to Gemini and sort of competing on quality. But then again, I think also there's this movement of a more closed world as well. I mean, now that like building AI on top of other services is becoming a big thing, like scraping all the content and being an overlay, that's sort of a movement in a different direction. So we'll see sort of which paradigm ends up being the 2026 reality.
Because Meta went from the beginning to a totally different way. They just like closed everything in.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and you're gonna like, yeah, so which way is it?
I mean, you have the Apples, you have the Metas of the world. That's about building a walled garden and building the walls as high as possible. And yeah, our approach, like it's the same if you start using. Now we've talked a lot about Gemini, but I mean Vertex, which is like the cloud platform for AI models, has a very big model garden where we provide Anthropic models, we provide Mistral models, we provide Llama models from Facebook. So that's really about like choosing a platform and then having the choice to pick whatever AI fits your bill the best. So it's not just like you can only talk about Gemini. Like that's I'm cool with hearing other models as well, and we've actually built like our platform is built around that fact that you shouldn't decide on one model because there's going to be so many different use cases where you want different models for different purposes. You want a lighter model or you want a faster model, and so on, and then you should pick the one that fits the best for the specific use case. So that's definitely the approach that we are taking in this race. And then it hasn't really translated down into the consumer segment yet. And I think that's because, I mean, the revenue model is still to be figured out, basically. And I think once that is more clear, then that will probably come as well. Obviously, I can't promise anything, but that would be like from a philosophical standpoint, that would be my guess on how we will approach it.
Yes.
So my question was more around, I understand how, with, what's happening, that you can create content, you can get inspiration on all of that side, like, they kind of, well, I can visually see as a user when I go on the website. But I hear so much about these agent-to-agent communication and how it's going to be the agents doing all this work, especially as you said, if people were lazy before, they're even lazier now, so why would I even bother, when I probably can just use an agent to do this work. I don't quite understand how this is going to work. Can you kind of, do you have a view on what's this going to look like, this agent-to-agent new paradigm in the next couple of years? What is it that we focus on?
It's the holy grail, right? What do you say?
No, for very quickly, the agent. Everyone talks about agents, and everyone thinks agents is something fancy, but it's just like the AI just doing something, like a call, like give me the weather, then it gives back your weather, and then you can do another call. So it's just like things happening after each other. The agent is just a fancy, weird name. But then you can make them do loops and loops and loops and loops and loops and loops and loops. So you can do massive constructions. But yes, I don't see you need a human to build that. You need those structures, at least for now. I haven't seen a like there's models like N8N and you can do like all this crazy stuff. But I haven't seen anything that is actually very, very functional. Maybe you have seen something?
No, not in e-commerce, but I think it doesn't necessarily start there. It's more like, okay, let's play around. How can this, like, okay, so agent to agent, seeing like, oh, Ylva, who I haven't seen in way too long, is very close by. Her agent then picks that up and sends a ping to my agent saying, you guys are very close by. You haven't seen each other in quite some time. So that's just like things that you don't know. You don't see, I don't see her. I don't know that she's around. But agent to agent will be able to solve that. And then maybe we'll have coffee and catch up and, have a wonderful 2-hour conversation. Who knows? I mean, a bit off topic, but I don't see necessarily agent to agent as a thing in e-com today, unless it's like, okay, because I don't know how am I going to know when I'm running out of, I was going to say toilet paper, but like that's such a bad example.
Just put a camera in the toilet.
Yes. No, but like, okay, so my refrigerator telling me that like, okay, you're running out of milk. This is already happening, right? So that's basically agent to agent. My refrigerator is speaking to my phone and my shopping list and basically saying you need to stock up on these things in your refrigerator. So e-com obviously then comes into that too, if I'm shopping online. Yes.
Sounds like it's not that we have a super smart being that can experience, really it's like practical instead of now being that I can go out with fridge. The fridge is that there's spontaneously figured out what milk is low.
But the change is exponential, right? The development is exponential, as Philip said. Like, this is what we know today, or what I know. Lots smarter people knowing way more, of course, but this is what I know today. So that's as far as like my vision of this goes. I'm pretty sure that in 2 years we're going to laugh at this and say, "Did you actually drive a car?" Maybe not in 2 years, but like, did you actually look into your refrigerator to see what you need to buy? Like, that's so stupid. What a waste of time.
Yeah, I see the agent as a little bit smarter, like API, like a connection. But then it will get to that. Like all the smart people are saying, it's 3 to 5 years to AGI, which means that the one AI is smarter than all humanity put together. This is by Google's ex-CEO. But I don't know. Right now it's just like a better API, which is easier to connect. API meaning like two systems talking to each other. It's just easier. You don't need the developer. You can just put the agent to do it.
Nice. Any more from the audience? Okay.
How are we doing?
All right.
I have a little bit back to what you were saying about the inspiration and window shopping on the e-commerce. We have a bit of that when it comes to our website, that people don't always know exactly what it is they're looking for.
What industry?
It's actually building material and stuff like that. and well, there are projects of, well, for instance, how am I going to build this part? What do I need for anything? And how do you really find the way to help your customer in this case? Because then you need some customer feedback, some form of analyzing the customer movements, and that's very. Do you have any ideas of how to actually catch that up so you can actually develop an AI for it?
I mean, there's so much science around like where do you place stuff in the store? So like when you go into an ICA, they know exactly where to put things for you to be more likely to buy it, or how to put the sign up for you to think, oh, great deal, but it's actually costing 5 krona more than it usually is. That's how stupid we are. And I mean, Clas Ohlson is called gubbdagis for a reason. Like they go in there and very me too. Yeah, and me. No, but I mean, so going in there just for inspiration and like how you place those things, that's what we need to be good at, but we can also use predictive AI for that. In like, okay, so where on site do I actually place this for more people to get inspired or to think, oh, maybe I should start gardening, or maybe I should build a boat, whatever you guys build.
Maybe on the tracking side, like how do you track? How do you have like tracking systems in place? Like, I think with anything, it's like you need to track, then you give it to a model and it can give you some outcome. But the tracking is the first thing you need to do. Like with website traffic, if we don't know how to track, we don't know what to do. So the thing is, like, how can you track the people? It's hard if you don't even have a building and then you're building it after. But if you already have like some models or different things, then you can, if you track it, then you can measure it and you can improve it. And you can, AI can help, but yeah. Yeah, not an easy case.
Or maybe it is.
Well,
Like,
maybe
right,
it is. It depends on what you want.
I mean, it's just about developing the website or on-site store or for the purpose that you want. Like is it based on margins or is it based on volume? Like, do you need to get rid of things? Then, so I think none of this is new. We've been doing it for so many years already. And now it's just moving into definitely moving into a digital space, but we're also just pushing so much data into it that we can make smarter decisions.
All right. Any more from the audience?
Are we doing on time?
That's a good question.
I have
Sorry, you have it later, so I'm not sure if you
I
want
have
to
3
comment.
more minutes.
Yeah, let's do last question.
Okay, right.
So we were, I guess, when I walked in, you guys were talking about agentic AI. I work in the financial services industry, so very heavily regulated and a lot of rules in place to protect the customer for good reason. And we look at agentic AI and how many, I guess the way I like to explain it is to break so many brain barriers for it to actually be really effective. You have to talk to multiple different systems within your device outside, and the data's getting sent across multiple places. In an industry that is as regulated as it is, especially here in the European Union, how do you guys see it very futuristic AI that is being super effective? I'm not sure if you've already discussed this. If you have to skip the question.
I mean, I can take it from a Google perspective maybe, because I think it's a great point. Like we're seeing this emergence of a lot of consumer products, basically someone slapping an enterprise sticker on it and saying like, look, there's now like, here's an enterprise agentic AI service. And when you start looking into it, it's maybe not as clear. Like, do they have like a financial services, like terms of service? Can they actually, like if Finansinspektionen wants to go into the data center where they're running their services, are they allowed to, or did they just not think about that? So, I mean, I kind of skipped that slide in my presentation, but the part on responsible AI, I mean, we've spent, as I said, like 10 years building AI for Google and for our customers, and we also operate in a like regulated industry because our customers are heavily regulated. So we do work with a lot of financial institutions. I think, I mean, that would sort of be my first response start building with a serious player and figure that out together, because it is super complex, absolutely. But if it's complex in Sweden, my response is always that it's way worse in Germany. And we are making a lot of progress with Commerzbank in Germany and with Signal Iduna, the big insurance company. So there is a lot of things happening on agentic AI with financial institutions. So I wouldn't say again it's a hard no, but of course it's riddled with much more complexity than building a nice agent for your e-com service. I unfortunately have to run because I have to pick up before 5.
What other questions?
Yes.
I did lose a bit of track, but yes, let's thank the wonderful panel answering all the questions.